Welcome to this presentation on the more contemporary human resource management theories. In the previous video, you had some information on the more traditional theories, being scientific management and the human relations approach. But today we are going to look at more of the contemporary human resource management theories, starting with the human resource approach. The human resource approach is an approach through which the organization benefits in two significant ways. They focus on an increase of organizational effectiveness whilst also satisfying the employees' needs. There are a number of principles that provide the basis for the human resource approach. These being that employees are seen as investments that will, if effectively managed and developed, provide long-term rewards to the organization. Secondly, policies, programs, practices must be created that satisfy both the economic as well as the emotional needs of its employees. Thirdly, the working environment that is created should encourage the development and the use of the employees to maximize their productivity. Whilst the fourth principle talks about the human resource programs and practices that must be implemented with the goal of balancing the needs and meeting the goals of both the organization and the employee. The whole concept of reciprocity, that there is a reciprocal relationship between the employer and the employee, and that while the needs of both are met, one would ensure the maximum utilization of your human resource in the organization. It is important to recognize that as part of the human resource approach, there is an emphasis on strategic human resource management. Now, the question is, what is strategic human resource management? It focuses on the integration of all human resource policies with the overall organizational strategy, plan, and objectives. In order to do this, it is important to recognize the cyclical nature of human resource management, and that one function, as was highlighted in the previous presentation, that the one function in your human resource management chain affects the other function. So like high employee motivation can affect the quality and the quantity of work, so can quality of work affect organizational productivity, which in turn can lead to greater employee rewards and recognition. It is important to recognize that in a fast-changing environment, and especially in organizations that are very dynamic in nature, that this is a complex function, and the integration of ensuring all your human resource practices, programs, and policies with your overall business or organizational strategy will increase the reciprocity that we spoke about in the previous slide, the relationship between the employer and the employee, and for the benefit of both of these parties. In the strategic human resource management approach, it is important to recognize that your human resource manager will have a different role to play as was traditionally conceptualized. With regards to planning and strategy formulation, in strategic human resource management, it is emphasized that the human resource practitioner should be involved in the overall organizational planning. In other words, they must be an integral part when organizational strategy formulation takes place. The authority that is vested in the human resource manager will also be equal in status to that of, for instance, a financial manager. Within the public sector context, we're talking about a person that is appointed at the position of a chief director or a deputy director general. In terms of the scope of the human resource management function, strategic human resources will be concerned with all the work that managers are doing as well as the employees, whereas in the traditional human resource management environment, managers were more concerned with only operational activities. This feeds back into what we were focusing on the previous week, where the managers are responsible for creating an enabling environment that would increase the productivity of their employees. With regards to decision making, human resource practitioners within strategic human resource management will be involved in making strategic decisions and not only operational decisions. Integration means that all human resource practices are fully integrated with other organizational functions, whereas with coordination, all human resource activities will be coordinated. This implies that your human resource manager will have very specific competencies that they are able to rely on. The first being business mastery, which is defined as the human resource manager will need to know the business and the strategy of the organization thoroughly in order to guide and lead his or her employees through the organization. Now, this then implies that they should also have human resource mastery to keep them informed about the changes that relates to issues of staffing, development, appraisals, rewards, team building, communication. This also further implies that the human resource manager will have change mastery in order to lead his or her employees through the necessary changes, organizational changes. And lastly, this speaks to the personal credibility of the human resource manager, and that this person will have the standing within the organization to influence how the organization functions and how the employees feel safe and how they belong within the organization. So this is a short overview of the more contemporary theories that guide the study of human resource management within the public sector. So just to recap, know what each of the theories are and be able